All right, let's dive into something that seems pretty basic at first glance, but actually there's a lot more to it. We're talking about how to chat about work in school, without it being awkward or boring.
Like, I know everyone's thinking, ugh, small talk.
Right.
But it's really not about that.
No.
It's about making these conversations, which, let's face it, we have all the time,
right,
more interesting.
Yes. And, it's a really good way to kind of under the radar improve your English.
Exactly. And you know what I think is really interesting about these topics? It's just how universal they are.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, think about it. Pretty much every conversation you have with someone new, like, I don't know, maybe you're networking, maybe it's a first date, maybe you're catching up with friends.
It always comes up.
Yeah,
What do you do? Where do you go to school?
Exactly.
It's like the default, right?
Yeah.
It's like human interaction 101. But the problem is those conversations can be, well, kind of boring sometimes, right? So we're going to give you the tools to dive deeper.
Ask better questions, more interesting questions.
Yeah.
And, be that person that everyone's like, oh, they've always got a great story.
Do that person, yeah.
Right.
And it's not just about having a story to tell. It's like understanding kind of what's going on in those conversations psychologically.
Right.
Like, why are certain questions leading to, more interesting answers? And how can you make someone really feel heard?
Ooh, that's good.
Those are the things we're going to be looking at today.
I like it. So we've got a bunch of different sources here, like articles, research, some tips from communication experts. And what we're going to do is try to pull out the most useful, most valuable nuggets of knowledge.
Yeah.
Let's start with the foundation of any conversation.
Okay.
Which is vocabulary.
Right.
And I know you guys probably already know basic words like, job, office, student, teacher. But even those basic words have little nuances, and they can make a big difference in how you come across.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely. Let's take the words part-time and full-time. Now, on the surface, you might think, okay, well, those just describe how much someone works. Right.
Right.
But actually, if you think about it, they can tell you a lot about someone's lifestyle, their priorities, what they're interested in, maybe even their ambitions.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine you're at, a networking event and someone says, yeah, I'm working part-time at the moment so that I can focus on, this passion project that I have. That tells you so much more than just, I'm an accountant or whatever their job title is.
That's so true. You get a little window into their world, right?
Exactly.
What they really care about.
Yeah, and I bet you could say something similar about the words job and career, right?
Yeah.
Job kind of has this feeling of it's transactional, it's just work, whereas career has more of this
path.
Yeah, like a path, this longer term.
Yeah.
Exactly, purpose. And using those words, strategically, it could totally change the whole feel of the conversation.
Like if someone's like, oh, I'm just looking for a job, they might just need some money.
Right.
But if they're like, I'm really building my career, they've got a plan.
Exactly. They've got a vision.
All right. So we've got the vocab down.
Right.
Let's talk about those power phrases.
Okay.
The ones that can take a very surface level chit chat to a deep dive.
A deep dive. Yeah.
Our sources have some really good conversation starters.
Oh, yeah.
So instead of that classic, what do you do?
Right.
How about something like, what's the most rewarding part of your work? Or, what inspired you to choose this field?
I like those. Those are good.
Right.
And you know what's really interesting about those questions? They kind of tap into this thing that psychologists call intrinsic motivation.
Okay.
It basically means that people get really excited when they talk about things that they're passionate about, things that they feel like, yeah, this is my purpose.
Makes sense.
So if you ask those kinds of questions, you're not just getting information.
You're getting their heart.
You're getting their heart. Yeah, you're getting this positive emotional response.
It's like you're saying, hey, tell me about your best self.
Exactly.
And that's the core of being a good conversationalist, right? Being able to draw people out and make them feel comfortable to open up.
Yes. And it's not just about the questions, it's also about how you listen.
Oh, yeah.
Active listening. That's really important.
I've heard that phrase.
Yeah.
Active listening, but I don't know if I really know what it means.
Okay, well, it's basically you're really paying attention to what someone is saying. You're not just, waiting for your turn to talk.
Right.
You're really absorbing what they're saying.
Okay.
So it's a mix of verbal and nonverbal cues. Like you're making eye contact, you're nodding your head, you're saying things like, that's really interesting, or tell me more. But it's also about reflecting back what you've heard.
Oh, okay.
So you might say something like, it sounds like you're really passionate about this project. Right, right. Or, I can really see why that experience was so challenging for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're showing that you're not just hearing the words.
You're hearing them.
You're understanding their emotions and their perspective.
I never thought of it like that, but that's really cool.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, you're basically creating a mirror for them.
Wow.
And it helps them to see themselves more clearly.
Yeah.
And that, in turn, makes them feel understood.
Right.
And valued.
And that's the basis of a really good conversation.
Exactly.
It's like more than just words back and forth.
Yeah, it's a real human connection.
Okay, so we've covered vocab, power phrases, active listening.
Uh-huh.
But there's another thing that our sources talk about a lot.
Okay.
Which is the art of storytelling.
Ooh, interesting.
And this is where things get really, really good.
Yeah.
They actually recommend having, like, a few little stories about your own work or school, ready to go.
Why is that?
Because stories are so powerful.
Yeah, they are.
They tap into our emotions. They, make us feel like we're sharing an experience.
Right.
And they make conversations more memorable.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about it. Would you rather listen to someone just, list their job duties?
Oh, gosh, no.
Or tell you a funny story?
Definitely this story.
Right.
Yeah.
Like a funny story about something that happened at work and, a lesson they learn or something.
Yeah.
Stories draw you in.
They do.
Yeah. But doesn't that feel kind of inauthentic, like if you have stories prepared?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to feel like you're giving a performance or anything.
Right, yeah.
The key is to pick stories that you genuinely connect with.
Okay.
Experiences that you're passionate about or that have kind of shaped who you are.
Okay.
Don't try to force it or come up with something super dramatic. Authenticity is key. Mm-hmm. Just think about those times at work or at school that made you laugh or cry or, taught you something important.
Ooh, that's good.
Those are the stories that people are going to connect with.
And I guess the more you tell them, the more natural it becomes.
Exactly. Like anything, the more you practice, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And it's a cool bonus of practicing your storytelling. It's a really good way to improve your English.
Really?
Yeah, like your fluency and your vocabulary. Because when you're thinking about those stories and kind of rehearsing them in your mind, you're actively using the language, expanding your vocab, working on your pronunciation.
It's like a secret weapon.
It is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, we have.
We've got the foundations, vocabulary, power phrases, active listening, and storytelling.
Right.
Now we've got to put it all into practice.
Yeah, let's do it. You know what?
Yeah.
Our sources actually give us some real-life conversation examples.
Oh, perfect.
That we can kind of dissect and analyze.
Yeah.
We can look at the communication cues, like what's the psychology behind the questions they're asking?
Cool.
And what are the things that make these conversations really work?
I'm ready. Let's see how these principles actually work in real life.
All right, so let's imagine a classic scenario. You're at some kind of social gathering. You've just met someone new.
Right.
And, of course, the conversation turns to work.
Oh, no. The dreaded question.
The dreaded question.
It's like, do you do?
What do you do? So let's see what our sources have to say about this.
Okay.
All right, so here's how the conversation might go. Okay, so imagine person A says, so, what line of work are you in?
Okay.
And then person B says, I'm a software developer.
Got it.
And then person A follows up with, wow, that sounds challenging. What's the most interesting project you've worked on recently?
Okay, so they didn't just say, what do you do? They actually...
They went a little deeper.
They did.
Yeah, it's a small change.
But I like it.
But it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
By saying that it sounds challenging. Mm-hmm. Person A is showing that they respect what person B does.
Right.
And they're curious.
Yeah.
So it invites person B to say more.
It's like opening a door, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And then that follow-up question, what's the most interesting project? That's tapping into that intrinsic motivation again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They're giving person B a chance to talk about something that they're excited about.
To shine.
To shine, yeah.
It's almost like setting the stage for a story, right?
Yeah, totally. And notice how person B is already jumping in.
Yeah, they're eager to share.
Yeah, to explain their project.
That's the power of a good question.
That's it.
Makes you realize that these little conversations, they're not so little.
No, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's not just making small talk. It's like...
It's about connecting?
Yeah, and making people feel seen.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at another example, maybe this time about school.
Okay, yeah, good idea.
Okay, so imagine person A says, I saw you had a book about astrophysics. Are you studying that? Okay. And person D says, I am. It's pretty intense, but I'm loving it so far.
Right.
And person A goes, astrophysics, that's amazing. I've always been fascinated by space, but I never had the chance to study it. What got you into it?
Okay, I like how this one starts with an observation.
I too.
You know, like they notice something.
It feels more natural.
Yeah, it's more natural than just, jumping straight into a question.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, they find this common ground,
They do.
the book,
Yeah, the book.
and use that to start the conversation.
Yeah, it's like a little bridge, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Into a bigger topic.
And then that question, what got you into it?
Ooh, that's a good one.
That's the magic question, right?
Right.
You're inviting them to share their passion, their origin story.
It's like, why astrophysics? What's the spark?
Exactly.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
What's that?
The best questions are the ones that go beyond, okay, what do you do?
Yeah.
But like, why?
Yeah, the what?
What's your motivation? What makes you tick?
Yeah, it's about going deeper than just the facts.
The emotional side.
Exactly. You're tapping into the emotional side of the conversation.
Okay. I'm ready to try these out.
Good.
But what about, like, when you're genuinely interested in what someone does,
Yeah.
but the conversation just feels a little
Stuck,
yeah. Like, you're asking all the right questions, but it's not going anything.
That happens, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes the other person might be shy,
Right.
or maybe they're just not used to, talking about themselves in that way.
Okay.
And that's where storytelling can really help.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And by sharing your own story,
Right.
you're kind of modeling the type of conversation you want to have.
You're showing them it's okay.
Exactly. You're creating that space for vulnerability.
So instead of just asking, like, what's the most challenging part of your job?
Yeah.
You could tell a quick story about a time you had a tough situation at work
Exactly.
and what you did.
Yeah. And how you felt.
And how you felt. Yeah.
Because when you do that, you're basically saying, hey, it's okay to be open.
Right.
It's okay to share.
And people feel more comfortable when they see you doing it.
Exactly.
This is making me totally rethink how I approach conversations.
Yeah.
It's not just about asking questions. It's about
Creating a space.
creating a space, yeah,
Or connection.
where people can share and connect
And feel safe.
and feel safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so say I've got the questions down. I'm a good listener. I've got my stories.
You're good to go.
What else can I do to make my conversations even better?
Our sources actually have some really good advice on that.
Okay.
One of the most important things is body language.
Body language. I thought that was just for like presentations.
Well, it's important for those too.
Right?
But it matters in everyday conversations as well.
Okay, how so?
It's subtle,
Yeah.
but it sends a strong message,
Like what?
like making eye contact,
Yeah?
nodding your head, leaning in a little when someone is talking. Those things show that you're interested
Right, right.
and engaged.
Yeah, you're not just like waiting for your turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been in conversations where you can tell the other person just isn't there.
Oh, yeah. They're looking at their phone.
Yeah. Looking at their phone, looking around the room.
Yeah.
And it feels terrible.
It does, yeah.
But when someone's really present, making eye contact, listening to you,
Yeah.
it makes you feel good.
It does. Yeah.
Like you matter.
Okay, so it's not just what you say.
Right.
It's how you say it.
And how you act.
Yeah, the whole package.
Yeah, your energy.
Okay, what else?
Here's another good one. Don't be afraid to be a little vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Isn't that like a bit risky?
I mean, you don't want to overshare
Right.
or anything inappropriate.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you can connect with someone on a deeper level
Okay.
by sharing something real.
Like what?
Like maybe someone's talking about a difficult project at work and you could share a time when you felt overwhelmed or unsure of yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It shows them that they're not alone.
Right.
It builds rapport.
So it's like people connect with authenticity, not perfection.
Exactly.
It's kind of scary though, right?
It can be,
To be vulnerable.
but it's also really powerful.
All right, I'm starting to see how this all works.
Good.
But what about when you're talking to someone who's like really an expert in their field and you feel a bit intimidated? I get that. Like you don't want to ask a dumb question
Right.
or pretend to understand something you don't.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
Especially when they're talking to someone who really knows their stuff.
So what should you do?
Well, the best thing is to be honest
Okay.
about what you don't know
Yeah.
and embrace your curiosity.
So instead of nodding along,
Yeah.
it's better to be like, I'm not familiar with that. Could you explain it? Oh.
Exactly. Yeah. And, you can even phrase it in a way that shows you're interested.
Okay.
Like you could say something like, that sounds incredibly complex, but also fascinating. Would you mind breaking it down for me in simpler terms?
That's good. Yeah.
You're showing that you're not intimidated.
Right.
You're eager to learn.
And most experts love to share their knowledge, right?
Yeah, they do.
When someone's genuinely interested.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
We've got the foundation, vocabulary, power phrases, active listening and storytelling. And then we add in body language and vulnerability. It's like we're building
a masterpiece.
Yeah, a masterpiece of conversation.
Exactly. And remember, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Not a destination.
It takes time.
It does. You don't have to learn everything at once.
Right.
Just try to incorporate one or two new things each time you have a conversation.
Okay, small steps.
Yeah, and you'll be amazed at how much better your conversations become.
This is making me realize that being a good conversationalist, it's not just about being smooth or, saying all the right things.
Right.
It's about being a good listener, being empathetic, and making those connections.
Beautifully said.
Okay, we've covered so much.
We have.
But we're not done yet.
Not yet.
We need to put all of this
into practice.
Yeah.
So the next part, we'll explore some specific exercises.
Oh, cool. Like homework?
Yeah, kind of like homework.
I like it.
That can help you solidify these skills.
Okay.
And take your conversations to the next level.
Awesome. So stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. So we've uncovered a lot of cool stuff about having better conversations, but now it's time to put it all into practice.
Exactly. It's one thing to understand the theory.
Yeah.
But the real magic happens when you actually start using these skills in real life.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So let's make this deep dive like a conversation boot camp.
I like it. Boot camp.
Okay. First up, our sources suggest role-playing.
Oh, role-playing. That takes me back.
Right. Back to like high school drama class.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's actually really helpful for practicing conversation.
It is. It is. It's like a dress rehearsal for real life.
I like that.
Yeah. So how does this work? Well, you can grab a friend, a family member, or even find a language partner online.
Uh-huh.
And just pick a scenario.
Okay.
Like you're at a networking event or you've just met someone in a class.
Right.
And then you just practice those conversation starters, those engaging questions.
Yeah.
And really focus on active listening.
I like that because it's like low pressure.
Yeah, exactly. There's no stakes.
Yeah, you can just try stuff out.
Yeah, experiment.
And you know what? I bet you could even record yourself.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I know it sounds a little weird.
Yeah.
But it's super helpful to listen back and see how you sound.
It's like having your own personal conversation coach.
Right.
You can see what you did well.
Yeah, what worked.
What could be better.
Exactly. Maybe you talk too fast or you use too many filler words.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, those are the ones.
Okay, I'm adding find a role play buddy to my list.
Good.
What's the next practice activity?
This one involves a little bit of writing.
Ooh, okay.
So the challenge is to write 3 sentences about your work or school.
Okay.
And then read them aloud.
3 sentences. That doesn't seem too hard.
It's simple, but it's powerful.
Oh,
because it makes you really think about how to describe your experience in a way that's clear, concise, and engaging.
Like a mini elevator pitch. You got to capture their attention.
That's it. Make them want to learn more.
Yeah, and by reading it out loud, you're also practicing your pronunciation.
Yeah, it's a win-win.
Ooh, I've got another idea.
What's that?
What if you tried writing those sentences from different perspectives?
Oh, that's interesting.
Like instead of just saying what you do, you could write about what it means to you.
Yeah, like the impact it has.
Or how it helps other people. That would be cool.
It would.
All right, I'm grabbing a pen and paper. What's the last activity in this conversation boot camp?
This one is all about Q&A.
Okay.
So find a partner.
Right.
And take turns asking each other questions about work or school.
So it's like role-playing, but with more focus on questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's good for learning to think on your feet.
Right.
Because you don't know what they're going to ask.
Yeah.
And it also helps you practice that active listening we talked about.
Yeah, you really got to pay attention to what they're asking.
Right. And don't be afraid to get creative with your questions.
Okay, so not just like, what do you do?
Right.
What else?
You could ask something like, what's the most unexpected thing you've learned in your field?
Oh, I like that.
Or, if you could change one thing about your work or school, what would it be?
Those are really good.
Yeah, they make you think.
Yeah, it's not just about getting information.
It's about understanding someone's perspective.
Right, right.
And you know what? You might even learn something new yourself.
True, true. Wow, this deep dive has been amazing.
It has, hasn't it?
It's made me realize that having good conversations,
Yeah.
it's not about being like a smooth talker or anything.
No.
It's about connecting with people,
Absolutely.
building relationships.
And making those interactions count.
Yeah, and remember everyone, practice makes perfect.
It does. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
So go out there and have amazing conversations, everyone. Until next time, happy chatting. Hey, everybody, and welcome. We're about to jump into a really fun topic today.
I know. I'm really excited for this.
I think this is going to be a good one. So get ready to, because today we are diving deep into greetings across cultures.
Fascinating stuff.
We've got an English language lesson plan here.
Oh, wow.
It's going to cover everything from like a super simple basic hi to like
Right.
phrases that are so smooth
Yeah.
they'd impress a diplomat.
It's amazing how much these greetings tell us, not just about language, but about like cultural values and social dynamics too.
You're right. It's like they've got these hidden codes embedded in like just our everyday interactions. If
Yeah.
you think about it, like whether you're traveling or working in different countries,
Yeah.
or even just like striking up a conversation, mastering greetings can really, I think, make a difference.
It really can.
Yeah.
You know, even a simple hello
Yeah,
carries so much weight. It sets the tone for like the whole interaction.
totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so this lesson plan breaks down greetings into different levels.
Okay.
Starting from beginner A1 to like super fluent C2.
Okay.
I'm really curious to see how those levels like play out in terms of like cultural nuances.
Yeah, that's where the real like insights are.
Yeah.
You'll see that as we go up the levels, the greetings not only become more complex in terms of like the language, but they also start to show like a deeper understanding of social context and relationships.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, well, why don't we start with like the real A1 basics?
Sure.
Hello, hi, good morning, afternoon. You know, like the kind of stuff that you learn like right out of the gate.
Exactly. And even here, you can already see like the beginning of politeness
Yeah.
and building relationships. You know, like how good morning acknowledges the time of day and implies a certain level of respect.
Right. It's not just the words themselves, but also like the message that they carry.
Exactly.
For sure. What about when we go up a level to A2?
At the A2 level, we start seeing things like, how's it going? What's up?
Yeah.
And nice to see you. These are a little more friendly and informal.
Yeah, I was thinking like, how's it going?
Yeah. Yeah.
Implies more of a personal connection
Right.
than just like a hello.
Exactly. It suggests like you're interested in the other person,
Yeah.
even if it's just like a casual question.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Is even more informal, often used with close friends
Right.
or peers.
It's interesting how within one language, you know, English,
Yeah.
you have these subtle variations in formality. I bet that gets even more complex when you're dealing with different languages and cultures.
Totally. Think about it this way. Like choosing the wrong level of formality can be like showing up to a black tie event in jeans and a t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't fit.
Totally doesn't fit the context. So
Exactly.
context is super important.
It is.
And speaking of context, the B1 level
Yeah.
specifically calls out the difference between formal and informal greetings.
Right.
And I feel like this is an area where things could get kind of awkward if you're not aware of the cultural norms.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Imagine saying like, how do you do
Right.
to your friend at the bar?
Yeah.
It would sound so out of place.
Yeah.
Because how do you do
Yeah.
is usually for more formal situations. Like when you're meeting someone for the first time in a professional context.
Right. It'd be like wearing a ball gown to a barbecue.
Exactly. And on the other hand, being too casual
Right.
in a formal situation
Yeah.
can also be a misstep.
So you've got this whole spectrum of formality
Yeah.
with things like good to see you or pleasure to meet you on the formal end.
Right.
And then, hey there, or long time no see on the informal end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you get better at the language and culture, you learn to handle these subtle differences.
Right. You get better at it over time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about the basics, but what about those times when you want to go beyond just like a simple hello
Right.
and actually show like real interest in the other person?
That's where the B2 level comes in. Here you'll find phrases like, how's everything going? It's been ages. And what have you been up to?
Yeah, these feel like they're setting the stage for a better conversation.
They are. They go beyond just saying hi and show that you want to connect on a deeper level.
I see how, like, mastering these greetings is almost like leveling up your social skills.
It is.
You go from, like, basic interactions to more interesting and engaging conversations.
It's like learning a new dance.
Yeah.
You know, as you learn the steps,
Right.
you can move with more grace and,
Right. I like that analogy.
yeah.
So what happens when we get to those, like, super advanced levels like C1 and C2?
Right.
Do we start speaking like some secret greeting language?
Not a secret language,
Right.
but you definitely see more linguistic finesse.
Right.
At the C1 level, you'll see what brings you here, fancy seeing you here, and how's life treating you.
Those sound so natural.
They do, and they convey that comfortable, familiar feeling.
It's like you're not just saying words anymore, but you're engaging in the subtle social dance.
You got it. And if you really want to make an impression with your greeting, the C2 level is where it's at. Imagine starting a conversation with, "It's an honor to meet you," or "Long time no speak, what's the latest?"
Whoa, those are smooth. It's like you've unlocked the secret handshake of sophisticated greetings.
Exactly. And the best part is that they show you're not only good with language,
Yeah.
but you're also culturally aware and you respect the other person's time.
So it's not just about sounding impressive, it's also about actually connecting with people.
Exactly. And as we go deeper into this, we'll see how these greetings play out in different cultures
Okay.
and how they can help us understand the tricky parts of communication between cultures.
I can't wait to see where this deep dive takes us.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's amazing what we can learn from something as simple as a hello or goodbye.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. It's fascinating, though, how greetings aren't only like spoken words, right?
Right.
Think about like the power of a handshake or a bow
Yeah.
or even like a nod.
Yeah, you're right. It's like there's this whole other language of greetings happening alongside the words. Oh my gosh. I remember when I first went to Japan,
Yeah.
the bowing thing totally threw me off.
It's a whole system.
I felt like I was always doing it wrong.
The Japanese bowing system is so nuanced.
Right.
It reflects like centuries of cultural tradition.
Wow.
The depth of the bow, how long you do it for the angle,
Yeah.
it all means something about your social status, respect, and the relationship.
It's crazy how much you can say
Right.
without even saying a word. I always wondered, like, where did bowing even come from?
Well, there are theories that suggest that bowing started as like a sign of submission,
Oh, okay.
but it's changed over time and it's become a really important part of etiquette
Right.
in many Asian cultures. It's a way of showing respect, gratitude, even apology.
Wow. So like a simple bow can mean all sorts of things.
Yeah.
What other nonverbal greetings have you found in your research?
Well, the handshake, which is super common in Western cultures, is thought to have come from knights.
Okay.
They would use it to show they weren't carrying weapons.
Really?
It's like a sign of trust and peace.
That's interesting. So something we do so naturally today actually has roots in like ancient rituals.
It does. And think about the cheek kiss.
Yeah.
That's common in lots of European and Latin American cultures.
Right.
It shows warmth and closeness. But even that has variations, like 1 kiss, 2 kisses, 3 kisses.
Oh, yeah.
It all depends on where you are and who you're with.
Oh my gosh, yes. The first time I had to do the cheek kiss thing, I was so awkward.
It can be tricky.
I didn't know how many kisses to do or which cheek to start with.
Right.
Or even like how close to
It's a cultural minefield for sure.
It really is. It
Yeah.
just shows how important it is to be aware of these differences, especially when you're traveling or interacting with people from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
But with so much variation, how can we even figure this all out?
Right.
It's like you need a cultural decoder ring or something.
Well, I think the first step is just knowing that these differences exist.
Okay.
Don't assume that your way of greeting is the only way. And then do some research. You know, if you're going to be with people from a certain culture,
Yeah.
take some time to learn about their customs. There's so much info online and in travel guides.
That's a good point. I'd rather be prepared than accidentally offend someone.
Right. And remember, people usually love to share their customs. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It shows you're interested and respectful.
Okay. Good advice. What about those times when you're really not sure what to do?
Yeah.
Is there a safe greeting that works everywhere?
A genuine smile and eye contact go a long way no matter where you are.
True.
It shows warmth and openness, even if you don't know all the customs.
I guess that's where those basic A1 greetings come in handy, too.
Exactly.
A simple hello or good morning is pretty universal.
It is, and it shows respect.
Uh-huh.
And if you're not sure, it's always better to be a bit more formal
Okay.
than too casual.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You can always adjust based on how the other person reacts.
Right. Okay, so we've talked about avoiding cultural mishaps.
Yeah.
But how about we switch gears a little bit?
Okay.
What are some ways that we can actually make our greetings stand out?
I think the key is to be present and genuine.
Okay.
Put your phone away, make eye contact, and really listen to what the other person is saying.
Right.
It sounds simple, but it makes a huge difference.
It really does. You're right. We're all so distracted these days
We are.
that a real connection can be really powerful.
And don't forget about personal touches, like a sincere compliment, a shared laugh, or even just have a great day
Yeah.
can really make someone feel good.
Yeah. It's like we're all searching for those little moments of connection.
We are. And those moments can start with just a simple greeting.
This whole conversation is making me realize that greetings are more than just a social thing.
Yeah.
They're a way of showing who we are, how we see the world, and how we connect with people.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And the more we understand about greetings, the more we learn about ourselves and the world around us.
It reminds me that saying, the world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page.
I love that.
It's like if we only experience our own culture,
Right.
we're missing out on so much.
You are. It's a reminder to be curious, to explore, and to embrace all the different ways people connect.
So let's try to put this into practice. Let's say you're going into a big business meeting.
Okay?
What are some greetings that would show you're professional and confident?
In a business setting, you always want to start with a handshake
Okay.
and a professional greeting, like good morning or good afternoon. Introduce yourself clearly and maybe make a quick, polite comment about the meeting or the place.
Got it. Eye contact, firm handshake, clear intro. Okay, what about when you're leaving the meeting?
You could say, it was a pleasure meeting you, or thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I look forward to our next conversation.
Okay.
And of course, another handshake as you go.
All right, so we've got business greetings down. What about something more casual? Like, let's say you're meeting a friend of a friend at a party.
Oh, okay. In that case, you can be more relaxed.
Okay.
Hi, hey, or hello is fine.
Right.
You can mention how you know the host
Uh-huh.
and maybe ask a question to break the ice.
Okay.
Like, so how do you know host's name?
That's a good tip. It takes the pressure off trying to be clever or anything.
Right. Just be yourself and be interested.
Totally. What about saying goodbye in that situation?
You could say something like, it was great meeting you.
Uh-huh.
Hope you have fun tonight, or see you around.
Yeah.
And depending on how well you know them, a hug or a wave might be okay.
It's all about reading the room and going with the flow.
Exactly. A hug at a business meeting might be weird,
Yeah.
but it's fine at a party.
Right. What about when you're traveling to another country? Any advice for greeting people in their own language?
Even learning a few basic phrases in the local language.
Right.
Like, hello, thank you, and goodbye can go a long way. It shows respect and that you want to engage with their culture.
I remember trying to speak some Italian when I was there.
Oh, nice.
My pronunciation was terrible, but people really appreciated the effort.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's the thought that counts. Even a simple ciao can make a difference.
it really can. Okay, so we've covered formal settings, casual settings, and even greetings in other languages.
Yeah.
What about those everyday moments like passing someone on the street?
Right.
You always have to say something.
That's a good question. It really depends on where you are and what you're comfortable with.
Uh-huh.
In some cultures, it's normal to acknowledge everyone you pass,
Okay.
even if it's just a nod or a smile.
Yeah, I've noticed in smaller towns, people are more likely to say hi to everyone.
That's true. In places where people know each other, it builds a sense of community.
Right.
But in big cities, it's more common to just make eye contact.
Yeah.
And maybe give a little nod.
It's like an unspoken rule of city life.
It is. It helps keep things moving smoothly. But in the end, it's your choice how you handle those quick encounters.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot here, from formal business greetings to casual hellos
Well, yeah.
and even nonverbal communication. This has been really interesting.
It has. It's amazing how much there is to something we often don't even think about.
We've gone deep and found all this cultural meaning and social stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's still more to explore.
You know, it's funny how we can go through life like without even really thinking about the
Right.
act of greeting someone.
Uh-huh.
But this whole deep dive has made me realize like how powerful these everyday interactions are.
Me too. They're often seen as just a formality.
Yeah.
But there's so much more than that. They're like the starting point for human connection.
Yeah, and they can have a ripple effect, you know?
Yeah.
They influence like the whole tone and direction of the interaction. It's almost like setting the stage for a play.
I like that.
A nice, warm, welcoming greeting can make people feel comfortable and open. But like a cold or dismissive one can just shut down the whole thing.
Yeah, it can stop communication before it even starts.
It's wild to think about how all these unwritten rules of greeting have evolved over time
Right.
and in different cultures. I'm curious about some of the more unusual greetings you found in your research.
Okay, well, one that always stands out is the hungi.
The what?
The hungi. It's a traditional Maori greeting in New Zealand.
Okay.
They press their nose and forehead to the other person's nose and forehead.
Wow.
It's a really symbolic gesture. It represents the sharing of breath and the joining of two souls.
That's beautiful. It's like a physical way of showing connection.
Yeah.
What other examples can you think of?
Well, in Tibet, they stick their tongue out as a greeting.
They what?
Yeah. It's believed to have come from this idea that you're proving you're not the reincarnation of this evil king
Okay.
from the 9th century.
Yeah.
He was known for having a black tongue.
That's amazing. So greetings can be tied to like history and beliefs.
They are. I bet there are some pretty funny stories
Oh, yeah.
about when people from different cultures try to greet each other.
Oh, there must be. I mean, I can imagine the awkward moments.
Definitely. I heard a story about this American businessman in Thailand.
Okay.
He wanted to be respectful of their culture,
Mm-hmm.
so he tried to greet his Thai colleagues with a way.
What's a way?
It's a Thai greeting where you press your palms together and bow.
Oh.
But he bowed so low
No.
that he headbutted one of the Thai businessmen.
Oh my gosh. That's so awkward.
It was. But I'm sure it's a funny story to tell now.
It probably is. It's a good reminder that even when we're trying our best,
Right.
cultural misunderstandings can happen.
They do. But that's part of the fun of learning about other cultures.
Yeah.
It's embracing the unexpected in those awkward moments.
So if we want to get better at this whole intercultural greeting thing, where do we start?
I think the first step is being open-minded and curious.
Okay.
Go into each interaction wanting to learn and with a sense of humor. And remember, even just a simple hello can be a powerful way to connect with people.
That's true. It's not about knowing all the rules or being perfect.
Right.
It's about being genuine and respectful.
Exactly. And if you're not sure what to do, just ask.
Okay.
Most people are happy to explain their customs.
That's good advice. So as we wrap up this deep dive into greetings,
Yeah.
what are some key things you want our listeners to take away from this?
Well, I hope they've learned to appreciate how important greetings really are. They're not just words. They reflect our values, our past, and our need to connect.
Yeah, and even though customs might be different around the world,
Right.
the main idea is usually the same.
Exactly.
It's to acknowledge someone, show respect, and start things off on a good note.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And as the world becomes more connected,
Yeah.
it's super important to be aware of these cultural differences and to be sensitive and understanding.
So listeners, as you go about your day,
Yeah.
pay attention to the greetings you see. Notice the little differences, the cultural influences, and how people use greetings to navigate their social world.
And remember, every interaction,
Yeah.
no matter how short,
Right.
is a chance to connect, to learn, and to broaden your understanding of all the different human experiences out there.
That's a great thought to end on. So until next time, take care, keep exploring,
Yes.
and may all your greetings be warm and genuine.
Farewell.